Everyone is gushing over your heroics and performance
Yeah, I am.
over the last few weeks, but
Don't speak ill of him.
you're only as good as your last hole.
Oh no, what's he done?
And let's go to show that your last hole house.
Hello and welcome to the Neville Richards Premier League, round 4 of the 2025 season as Matt Milne joins us. Matty, that might have been the single most amazing round in Premier League history.
Mark, it was. It was a fantastic day, unbelievable round. It was a brisk autumn morning, calm early on when you were out there, and then the little breeze got up in the afternoon and it got a little chilly, but we had 103 players turn up on Saturday out of the 120, which is a great turnout. And as you said, the results, they were phenomenal. We had 3 1-point margins and a 2-point margin on Saturday. So a lot of little side matches in there where just little key moments came through, and a couple of them really stuffed it up for their team.
And 50 plus people sitting there going, 1 point, how could I have got 1 point better in my round to make the difference?
We had our second hole in one of the competition. We also had a Travis Matthew winner for 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
So congratulations to the little Smurf. But great effort. But the results impacted the ladder massively as well. And you showed some ticker on Saturday.
Yeah.
A bit more ticker than the Hawks showed. But,
Yeah, that's true.
But you were, I was watching your scores there as you were going. We'll get into it a little bit later, but you were on target for the Jamesy at one stage.
I was not tricking very well, but I couldn't get the Goblins over the line, so the streak's over.
Yeah, so just as Mark alluded to before, with the par format is that with the scores for Premier League, it is what we call the handicapping score. So within Golf Link, to be handicapped in a par event, it's whatever score you have, and then you just have 36 added to it. So if you had -3, it was a 33. If you had plus 2, it was 38. So yeah, so a couple of, I suppose a lot of golfers may have, if they had been playing Stableford, might have had some different scores out there because they might have had a double up or a triple up on a hole.
Triple up. Well, let's get into that one. I mean, I'm sorry if I wreck your running order here, Matty, but we need to probably look at this video of the great Dennis Wood. His pies are flying, he's flying. He actually, before he got onto the second tee, thought he was more likely to fall over at some point in the round in the slippery conditions. Asked, would I come and visit him if his little surfer cart thing
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
skidded out of control, and I said I'd be there. But I didn't get there as fast as the great man here when Dennis Wood played arguably the greatest shot of his life.
Yeah, I'm surprised he actually reached the green. Like good old straighty 180, but very difficult par 3. As you say, the great man missed last week because he was at the footy and was in a corporate box.
Oh.
Same as Murray Wiley last week, corporate box. Didn't go together, different corporates, so we might have some celebrities amongst us with those guys with their contacts.
So it's funny you mentioned straighty 180 because the pin was 180 and he got out the driver and he hit it straight. So here we go, Matty's interview with Dennis Wood.
So I'm here with Dennis Wood today on the second hole. So congratulations, Dennis, hole in one on the second.
Easy.
Easy, was it?
180 straighty.
Yeah, what club did you use?
Driver.
Driver. Was it in all the way or did it bounce 100 short?
In all the way.
In all the way? How does it feel having a 1 for plus?
I can't go there.
Jeez, he was happy. He was lost for words, good old Denzo. But to make it even more funny on that hole, John McGlone, I think it was who was playing with him.
Yeah.
He was over near the water hazard between the second and the third, and then he pitched it in.
For a 2.
For a 2, so they've had 2 hole outs on the second hole. So
For a total of 5 pluses.
yeah.
So Dennis, unfortunately, we haven't even mentioned the score of the game yet, but the Pirates, of which Dennis is a member, came up 1 shy, Matty, and lost to the Peakers. So the 1 a plus didn't work in his favour.
Yeah, well, he would have been 1 of 5, but then again, Johnny McGlone would have been 2 for 4, so he should have had 2 pluses. So they can generally cancel each other out. But yeah, the Peakers got over the line 268 to 267. Peakers had 14 players, the Pirates had 13. For the Peakers, can you believe the 173-year-old Peter DeFazio?
Oh.
36 points, best scorer for the Peakers, along with Rim O'Keefe. Then we had Warren Stevenson on 35, Jeanette Johnson 33, Tom Morgan had 33, Sean Boland 32, Snag Spinamore 32, and Lloyd Shepherd had 31. Scoring again, Lloyd, well done. While the Pirates, Dennis Wood 38, Richard Geary, your man, he had 34, Cliffy McCorkle 33, Steve Gill 33, Chris James had 33 as well.
He's tracking for the wrong shirt.
Every time he comes in, he asks if you're going to be on for the PP team, but you're no chance, Chris. You're playing too well.
Yeah.
Richie Howes had 33, and then we had Jeff Daniel had 32, and Mrs. Scuba Hub had a counting score on 31.
Well done, Wendy.
As you said, Hazy, you could argue the Pirates were stiff with Dennis, but saying that though, Dennis, you were 4 up after 12. You wiped 14 and 16, only finished on +2. Lost the Travis Matthews shirt on account back as well. So, I don't know. Dan, great effort though, good hole in one, but the match was close all day. The AM Pirates of Wood, Geary, McCorkle had the advantage over DeFazio, Snags. When the PM Pirates of Richie, Stevie Gill, Chris and Scuba Hub complemented their AM players, it was the afternoon peakers that led them to victory with Mr. Winch, Mr. Warren Stevenson.
Mr. Winch.
Tom Morgan, he rallied hard to get the disc, but also have a counting score. And then when Rim O'Keefe come in with 36, that was enough for victory. As we mentioned, a couple of little highlights or lowlights for these. We go to the 16th green on Saturday.
Yes.
David Hutton, unsung hero. Have a look at this putt. And here we have Mr. Hutton for birdie, or par, or bogey, not sure. Oh, solid as a rock. Yes, that was for a half. Then we come across to, you know it, Corky, your putt here.
Corky.
This is for a half. Now we have Mr. McCorkle through the shadow too. That's no good. God, how do you have 42 points the other week? Putting through the shadow, and I say to the boys, there is a thing putting through your shadow. It is a thing, you can see it there. That is the worst stroke I've seen, nearly worse than Ernie Els at the Masters.
Oh, yeah.
So Cliffy, you made a scratch there, 1 point margin between yous. Hutto's got bragging rights this week.
Oh, I was going to ask you what you thought about his putting stroke. I thought you might be a little bit sort of more...
Oh, God, does he need some work on the mirror? Our under 25s, the Jamesies.
Yes.
Pirates, none. But we do have a special mention to Andrew Wooden. Weather was beautiful, no wind, sunny, and you put in a measly 27. Obviously working last week helped your golf game.
He was sweating up there. It was so hot out there after he pulled out the week before. The sun was sort of...
Surprised he didn't pull out mid-round.
The sun... You could see the sun was beating down on him, on that nude nut of his.
And when you got that big beard there just drawing in the heat. So, and then for the peakers, Johnny Crossett, 24. Just came back from a golf trip at Yarrawonga the week before. Maybe you left your game up there. Not like your mate who starred in one of the other games.
Oh, gee, this is harsh from you. You've started hard.
Yeah, it's going to get worse.
Really?
Yep.
I don't know if I've got the right game. I think I might have written it incorrectly in my notes. In fact, we will come to that one later on. He's not in this team, is he?
Justin McGrath, no, he's a Pirate.
Surely he must have done something, because look at this swing.
That's on the green. Still down.
You got to play shots like that if you're going to wear that sort of stuff.
He's a good-looking rooster, isn't he?
Wow. I mean, that could be construed two ways, because he's obviously put a lot of time into his fashion ensemble there, Matty.
Yes, him and Tickle My Doodah do have a little bit of that. They come very colour coordinated, and yes, he has got those pants going there, so, but it's very smooth swing. That would have been 280, 300 down the third.
280 straight up the third. I don't reckon he could have hit it any better. It was pure to watch.
Yeah, he's a good man. I actually got his clubs in the pro shop to re-grip them. They're getting sent me a little message this morning at 5 a.m. that they're a little bit hard and that, so I need to re-grip those. So he'll be primed for Saturday coming.
All right, Matty, the second game, another thriller, obviously, were my boys and girls, the Tornadoes, versus, I wasn't playing for them, by the way, against the Bullies, and they got up in another thriller. This was the blowout, 2 points.
Yeah, the 2-point margin. Both teams only had 10 players on Saturday. So for the Tornadoes, Chris Dodds on 37, Ian Davis 35. The Sheik Reynolds, Barry Marbles makes his appearance back this week with 34. The Marley had 33, Neil Ryan 31, Johnny Leaking 30. And then we had Lynn Kirby on 29 and Robbie Moorcroft counting score on 28. While for the Bullies, geez, he's consistent, Ross Morland, he had 37. Choco Royal had 33, Judy Said 32, Jackie Rowe 31, as alongside Jerry Raviani and Richard West. While Cooper McMurray had 30 and fill-in Darren Heaton had 30. Darren filled in for Sean, who was a little unwell on Saturday. But the Bullies, they're the weakest water winners this week with a score of 255. Match could have gone either way. AM counted scores. We're in favour of the Tornadoes with Ian, Barry Marbles, Robbie Moorcroft covering Judy Said, Jackie Rowe. But then the afternoon Bullies of Choco, Ravman, Westy, Coop and Phil-in Heaton all had counted scores. And when Moreland come in with his 37, it appeared that the Bullies may have secured the victory. But the Tornadoes weren't done with when Lynn and Leaking scores counted. Malesy was in 33 and that left Chris Dodds, last Tornado on the course, to get him over the line. His 37 was good enough to secure their third win for the season and move them to second on the ladder.
That's a key effort under the gun there, isn't it?
Yes, it was a sort of, I suppose, a ho-hum match because it was so low scoring, but close game's a good game.
How did you think Barry Marbles looked on his return?
Well, as we can see from his drive here, he nearly hit the clubhouse off the first.
Next on the first tee, we have a new player for the Tower Road Tornadoes, Barry Marbles. Don't fall in the water. He will tow this straight into the dam. No, he hit the clubhouse.
Yes, he's been pretty busy lately. He's been, but then again, he came out Sunday afternoon and had a game as well. A little sneaky game. In our Jamesies, Tornadoes. Your girl Doreen, 25.
D.
I'm not going to say any more.
Oh, he's better off the hook.
Bullies, John Wooten.
Oh,
Obviously can't play in the good weather. 23 after his 40 last week. Did you lose a leg, John? Or something happened? Because that is atrocious.
Oh, I saw him putting on one of the greens for quite a while, to be fair. It wasn't pretty.
Oh, really? Yeah, okay. I heard the greens were a little slick on Saturday.
Anyway, let's move on, Matty. The third game, obviously another one-pointer. This time between the Victorious Warriors and the Crusaders.
Yes, we've got a lot to digest through this one, Mark.
So much.
Both teams had 14 players. Let's say, could have been really bad for the Warriors due to the arrogance of one of their players.
Arrogance?
Yes, so we have a player who didn't play the week before and organised a fill-in for him. That fill-in's performance wasn't very good that week. I think he might have only had a measly 22 or 23 points. I contacted said egotistical warrior and he wanted that same player to fill in again for him, and he said he would rather him not. Didn't want to pay for that ineptness of Ian Francis, so Rick Edmondson decided not to have a fill-in. He did message me a few minutes later and asked that if Biscuits Arnott was there that he could fill in for him, but Brett's away working, so the Warriors went in with one player short, which was due to Rick's tightness of not paying for Ian, and we've just got a video here of Ian after his round. Here with Ian Francis today, and after being fill-in for Rick Edmondson last week, I asked if you'd like to fill in again this week, and what can you say, Ian?
Rick, the feeling's mutual. 33 points.
Yep, well, Rick didn't want him to fill in, so good score, Ian.
Thank you.
What do you reckon, Box Ed?
Oh, I love it.
Wow. didn't mince his, I was going to say words, it's more fingers than anything.
Yeah, so Ian was, he was quite happy to come in and, say, well, sucked in, Rick. I could have had a counting score and he would have won by more. But anyway, for the Warriors, that biceps. Jeff Evans had 36. Bullhead Allen, 36. Dale Scott, Bernie Reid, 35. Chip-in Johnny McGlone had 34. Jill Barker, 33. Chris Geary, 31. Alongside the Sword and the Flange, they all had 31. While for the Crusaders, Bobby Gibbs had 32 with Noel Pike. Ian Lachlan had 32 as well. Johnny Rowe, 33. Adam Shawcross and John Hill, 34s. Helen Poe had 35 and Xavier Boland had 38.
Unbelievable golf, Xavier Boland. What do you call him? A little Smurf.
The Smurf. He's a Smurf.
Extraordinary golf, Xavier. Well played. We had a little research last week having you come from 27, I think it was, down to 18 in the past 7 months. I'm pretty sure, Matty, that will wind him into another one.
I would think so. So Xavier wins the Travis Matthew Prize again this week, so we might have a little short ensemble on for next week. And the Warriors win the Callaway Golf Balls for the top scoring team again this week. But as I said, counting morning scores favoured the Warriors. So for the Crusaders in the morning, there was Johnny Rowe, Bobby Gibbs, while the Warriors started off strong with Jeff Evans, Dale Scott, Chris Geary, Sword and the Flange. The Crusaders started to claw back that margin when Helen Powell, Adam Shawcross, Ian Lachlan and Noel Pike come in. Their scores kept them close, but when the Warriors of Bernie Reid, Jill Barker, it left it to one Crusader and one Warrior on the course. Last week's hero, Xavier Boland, and the returning Yarrawonga golf trip player, Bullhead Allen. They were the two left, trying to get a famous victory for their teams. Bullhead halves his last hole to finish square and 36 points, leaving it to Xavier. Well, Xav, everyone is gushing over your heroics and performance
Yeah, I am.
over the last few weeks, but
Don't speak ill of him.
you're only as good as your last hole.
Oh no, what's he done?
And let's go to show that your last hole was shit house. You scratched it, you wiped it. You're lucky that you got it on the count back from Dennis Wood. Now, I'm not going to let you get a big head because you were standing on the ninth tee, only needing a par for the Crusaders to win, and a half would have been a draw, and a wipe was a loss. And what did you do?
The ninth, not even the 18th.
It was the ninth. You scratched the hole and you cost your Crusaders victory.
Oh, no.
So even though everyone's gushing over you, you cost your team.
I take it all back.
But Xav, it's all right, you weren't alone. Greenkeeper doesn't like being called a landscaper, I've been told. Greenkeeper Adam Shawcross wiped the 18th. This is Crusaders. Lawnmower man Bobby Gibbs.
What does he not like being called?
Bob. He wiped 10, 11, 15 and 16.
Oh.
The diminutive Ian Lachlan, who gave us that little spray last week and how the Crusaders were going to come out strong. Well, Ian, you wiped your last hole, which was the 9th, but you also wiped 15, 16, 18. Noel Pike, one of the last ones in. You wiped 14, 15, 16. That's not the worst though.
No, surely.
The worst is John Donovan Hill.
Oh no.
He was one up, standing on the 16th tee, and he went wipe, wipe, wipe to finish on -2 and 34. John, that is disgraceful.
He spent so much time here practicing.
A man of your experience, you've been a single figure golfer for 70 plus years and you put that in. You were one up and then you finished 2 down. You can't blame the pace of play because you got round in 3 hours 58. Not sure if you got tired. You're not like the 178-year-old Peter DeFazio. Whether you started to eat the food that you have for the birds that you give them as you go around, or whether you gave up. But a man of your experience and passion, maybe it's time you need to have a chat to Margaret about getting some new golf clubs. The clubs and putters you've got are quite old, nearly ancient like yourself.
They must be nearly 6 or 7 weeks old now.
No, well, this was the biggest capitulation in competition history.
Oh, wow.
Need to speak to Margaret about maybe getting yourself a new set of clubs and a new putter, because the ones that you are using obviously don't work on holes 16, 17, 18. Yeah.
What? That is a massive bake.
That is a choke.
Whoa!
Mass proportions. I'm not sure whether he just gave up and cracked the sads just to get a response from me, but you didn't make the Jamesy. For the Crusaders, we had no Jamesies. For the Warriors, we had one.
Who was that?
An A-grader,
Oh.
a man who rates himself as a golfer, probably one of the shortest hitters for a single-figure golfer you'll ever play or see. Joel Lorna had 24.
The milkman.
The milkman. He, as you can see here with the photo, he's got a new hat.
Ooh.
Yes, good hat. Maybe that was the problem. I'm not sure. And he's just bought a brand new Navigator remote control buggy.
Yes.
And what did he do on Saturday? Played in a cart.
What?
Come on, milkman. Your golf as good as your footy team. Shocking.
Oh dear. Speaking of footy teams, we need to. I mean, we haven't got much footage of Ian Flanders
Oh, yeah.
generally because he tends to hide away with his little mischievous handicapping techniques. But you did manage to get out there and get a video of you guys celebrating. He claimed it was Geelong's win on Thursday night. I find that sort of.
Nah, it was a precursor to the Warriors winning. He said after we got off film, he said this is for a Warriors win today.
Okay. Let's have a quick look at this.
Got Ian, what's this? Well,
Celebration.
Is it? Don't you normally have this for birdies?
No, this is for Thursday night.
Thursday night, what happened?
Oh, the best side one.
Go on, Cliffy. Launch it. Done, Flanders. You'll go. Good stuff.
Matty,
It was smooth.
was it?
It was nice. I generally have one of those about 9 o'clock when they come through the turn each Saturday morning.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Standard PGA practice. Yeah, I like it. But you did take him out to the 17th tee. We weren't sure what we were going to see, but walk us through this shot here off the 17th.
Yes, well, Ian's there. Driver in hand. Can you really get a driver on the 17th?
Straighty 140.
He is a straighty 140. Got over the water, bounced up on the green. Don't know how he did it. Saying that though, when he did have his hole in one, it was with the driver. Just like Dennis.
Doesn't matter, it's a 1. That's all you got to write down. Okay, there we go. That's special footage of Flange. We move on to the 4th game. Another 1-pointer, obviously, Matty, and this time it was the Hookers just outpointing the Goblins.
God, they're stiff, the Goblins, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
14 players each for the Hookers. Lee McMuffin had 36, James Finch 34, Julie Milne 33, alongside Blenna Hassett. Andreas Belkis greeted the scorers this week with 32, alongside that big strong plumber Michael McNeil had 32. He was off me after blaking him the week before. That bunker shot, wasn't very happy. Slowburn Ibbotson had 31 alongside Dave Byrne, while for the Goblins, Timu LeBron Prime had 35, Andrew Whitson 34, Joy Francis 33 with Brian Bell's 33, Mark Hayes had 32 with Johnny Dixon, and then also Yvette Pollock and Steve Smith had 31.
Jeez, it's the case of what might have been though for the Goblins, surely.
It was AM counting scores favoured the Goblins with LeBron, Timu LeBron. You've got to had the pleasure of playing with him, and I believe you've got some footage of a drive on the 12th.
Yeah, I think we'll let, we actually did some commentary out there, Barry Marbles and I. We'll let it just talk for itself for a second.
Sheik, we're in a group with Toby Prime.
Yeah.
We just hit off the 12th tee.
Yes.
You and I are walking up the fairway now. I'm just going to pan around. Can you sort of explain what just happened?
Well, I don't think I've ever seen a ball go further right than what Toby's hit off the tee. I don't know if you've ever done it in Portarlington golf course history, but have you ever called for players on holes 11, 10 and 9? Because it was taking out a group of them at a low and a very high speed.
That's extraordinary. Let's have a look at where he is.
So he's already across one fairway.
Yeah, just about to cross the second one. That's him over there in the distance.
It would kill Ball Tracker. Trackman would have blown up if that was tracking anything there.
That's further right than Mussolini. Seriously, unbelievable.
Now, Matty, I've played a fair bit of golf, and often you see things going on that angle, and often you see things hit hard, but you never see the two together we were worried for players out on the 10th fairway. That was off the 12th tee.
He would have had probably further to the green from over there than he would have from the tee.
It would be touch and go. I know he hit a massive big 3-wood, I think it was, to get it back in play. So did scramble a half to his credit, which is amazing. But
That's amazing, Toby. I didn't realise he was so shit still.
but he actually had it going there for a while, Matty.
He was. I did notice that he was. I think three up through the round, and then just leaked a couple coming home. The AMs, yours was a counted score again, 32. I'll get to you shortly.
Oh, what?
So you guys had the morning hookers covered of Finch, Blennerhassett, Belkis, McNeil and Byrne, but the Goblins' afternoon players were disappointing in the PM. Their best was Joy Francis and Brian Bell, while the big guns, the low markers of the Goblins, the so-called better players couldn't produce. Murray Wiley, 28, Grant, Willie Nelson.
You better explain Willie Nelson to our.
I was going to say, Max, I don't reckon, would have heard of Willie Nelson.
No, that's true.
And there was a famous song, I believe, I didn't even know, but on the road again. Here we got Grant on the 14th, I believe.
On the road again. Look at that.
Yeah, wasn't Toby Prime there the week before too?
Yes,
Yeah.
it was more on the 14th. But
Yeah, so Grant had 29, David Milne had 27. They gave their tomb absolutely zero.
Wow.
Nada, nothing.
We only needed a point.
Yeah, best for the hookers in the PM, and there was only 2 counting scores, and they were from Slowburn Ibbotson,
Wow.
who had 31, and old Mustard Pants McMurrich had 36. The scores were enough to get them over the line at a much needed victory and get them into the top 4. But Lee, you were 4 up after 12.
4 up.
Mm-hmm.
Did see him sort of marching around the turn. He had a bit of a strut going on.
Finished square. Didn't even come in the pro shop afterwards.
What? Seriously?
No, just Coop came and dropped a 5-wood that he tried back in the shop, and there was Lee sitting in the car, driving out. Didn't even say goodbye.
Oh, he's cracked it.
Cut up rough.
With
Don't know.
With you or him?
I'm not sure. Who knows what goes through personality 7. But speaking of some love fest, mother and father played each other on Saturday. Normally, loser has to organise tea.
Yes.
Not sure what happened. Don't know what he did.
Mummy's playing pretty well at the moment.
Yeah, she is. Not sure what happened after golf either, Mark. Who knows
I'm
what
not going
occurred there. But
I'm not going there.
yes, what cost the Goblins? Timu LeBron, 2 up after 9. White, 16 and 18. Andrew Whitson, you had 8 wipes for the day.
What?
8 wipes, finished with 34, I think it was. Wow. He wiped 13, 14, 15, 16 and 18. That's nearly a bigger choke than John Hill. And Mark, I can't put you in this. You were 5 down after 9. And then you rallied, but I just took the piss out of Andrew. You wiped 1, 2, 3, 5, 7 and 8.
Wasn't good.
You had the tram tracks going everywhere. Was you a bit nervous playing with Sue O'Connor?
I was.
Well, Sue was in the Jamesies with a 25.
It was good. It was good of Sue to actually get into the spirit of Sir Doug Nichols' round.
Yes, I did notice that in the apparel there in the shirt.
Yeah. And I did mention that to her, and she didn't have a clue what Sir Doug Nichols' round was. But no, Matty, it wasn't a good start. Did fire a little bit, but
you rallied back to finish with 32 or 4 down, so you weren't too bad the back 9. But our other the other Jamesy was Tim Balitho.
he's been going so well too.
Based on your scoring, Tim, we were expecting a 40, and what did we get? We got a 26.
Oof.
So, Goblins had none. Told you, Goblins aren't that bad.
I've got, is that the end of this?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've got a ladder to show you, Matty, that'll actually disprove what you just said.
Yeah, I know.
This is your pre-season prediction of the Goblins here, and I'm sorry to have let you down because, geez, there's some things that went wrong that could have saved me a point.
So as we can see with the ladder there after the weekend results, the Crusaders had the biggest jump from 5th up to 1st.
Wow.
The Bullies went from 2nd Sorry, the Crusaders went from 1st to 6th. They were the biggest drop-off.
Yeah.
Bullies went from 2nd to 6th. Warriors went from 3rd straight up to the top again. And the Tornadoes from 4th to 2nd, your team. While Peakers dropped, or they went from 5th up to 3rd, while the Hookers went from 6th to 4th. Pirates stay at 7. And the Goblins remain at 8.
Anchored.
But they are only one game out of the 4.
It's true.
So it's still a close season. It's not over with gobbles.
And my Tornadoes somehow sitting second with a percentage of 98.5.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that amazing?
3 wins and haven't got 100 percentage. So it is a fascinating later and augurs well for the tight season going through. Now, Matty, it's preview time. I know this is when you really sort of cut loose, although you've given a fair clip on the way through so far. So we'll see what happens here. The first game we want to look at for round 5 is the Warriors and the Hookers. Now, this one is it's a top 5. It's a top 4 clash. Suddenly.
Yes, first versus 4th. Heavyweight contest here. Both teams coming off a win. Interestingly, that although the Hookers are 4th on the ladder, they've actually accrued more counting score points through the first 4 rounds compared to the Warriors. As we know, to get a victory, you need to be high scoring. So, Warriors have had 4 players have all their scores count this season. Jill Barker, Rick Edmondson, well, he's not going to be here this week, still in Perth. I think he's watching the Cats this week or something, isn't he?
Oh, I think he must have given up on the Saints by now.
Johnny McGlone and Jeff Evans, while the Hookers have had 2, Julie Milne and Mickey McNeil. Hookers' average score across their team is 31.8, while the Warriors is 31. Games played so far, Warriors have had 48, Hookers have had 47. So it's pretty evenly matched here, Mark.
It is.
The Warriors need some counting score contribution from Shirley Bell. We do say this every week, Shirley, so pull up your socks.
Hang on. She did really well on the weekend.
Yeah, because it was par and it was just if it had been stable, she would have had 16.
No, I'm back on you, Shirley. I thought that was an exceptional round.
Okay, I'll let you go with that. Matt Davies, you need something. Boxhead Madden. I was going to say we need something from you, but don't worry about him. He's going to be away. So when the whips are cracking and he's needed, he's probably not going to be here. He has organised a fill-in though.
Okay.
Then also the Milkman needs to give something. You're an all Portarlington player and you've given donuts this year. And Stiglbauer, your first 2 weeks were sensational. Then you went to crap, and then last Saturday you actually withdrew after 9 due to back injury. So we'll give you a pass on that one. Hookers, Sue O'Connor, first week, great. Last 2 deplorable, 27 and 25. Paul Marnie hasn't reached 30 points yet. Belitho and Wilkins after first week blinders, rubbish afterwards. Drooks, you did have a counting score of 32, but we need more from you and your team does. You are a big, strong man. You're not living up to your potential. Interesting grudge matches this week. Dino and Leroy up against the Milkman. McNeil against Ward. Nina versus Shirley. Jeff Evans versus Paul Marnie. And Flanders versus everyone.
Jeff Evans and Paul Marnie.
Yeah.
How do you put them together?
Oh, mate, they do have a little bit of chatter to each other, and I reckon this week, they don't play in the same group a lot of the time, but I reckon this week there will be some chirping.
Wow, hey. All right, the second match for decision is the Goblins and the Peakers. The suddenly hot Peakers.
Gobbles are 8th, Peakers are 3rd. Some would say it is a mismatch, or it could even be a whitewash. He would say that, I wouldn't. I've got faith. Goblins have averaged 28.6, while the Peakers 31.4. Peakers have had Jeanette Johnson, 232-year-old Peter DeFazio, and Lloyd Shepherd. Yes, Lloyd Shepherd count each week. Gee, the Peakers must be shithouse if Lloyd is scoring for them each week. While the Goblins have had Andrew Whitson and John Dixon score every week. The Goblins will need improved performances from Fran Stone, Yvette Pollock. Yes, Yvette, you've had 3 counted scores, but they were 33, 28, 31. That doesn't cut it. Oh. And John Bowman, you've had 1 counted score. Goblins are probably lucky that you won't be here this week. He's going off to do opera.
The opera?
The opera, of all things.
Wow.
I didn't think he was that cultured. And then it's the Guns. Peacock, All you've had is 33, 31, 27, 29. You're better than that. If you can't score that here, maybe you need to go back to Lewis and play on an easier course. While the biggest disappointment is last year's Drayton Medal runner-up Murray Wiley. 2 games he's played and 28's his best. I know his form hasn't been the same since he broke his wrist, but I think we see the return of Yanni Lathouris.
Ooh,
Noticed his name on the timesheet.
wow.
He might be back from the US.
Surprised he was let out.
Interesting. We'll have to wait and see. Hopefully his flight's on time. The Peakers have been solid across the board. They need some grit from Bear All Foot. Alan Kerry, you've been shocking this year.
I think they need Ange to turn up.
Yes, well, she had a couple of little issues on Saturday and couldn't make it.
Okay,
But
that's right.
Alan Kerry, 35, 26, 21, 26. David Hutton, a bit more putting like you did the other day, can improve on your last 2 of 24 and 29. Johnny Crossett, mentioned you earlier on. You've gone 31, 29, 24. Let's hope we don't see a score in the teens this week. This week is also Pollock versus Pollock.
Oh, sounds like a law firm.
Don't trust the chef or the cook this week, particularly coming close to Saturday.
No mushrooms?
Well, he's prone to a mushroom, Dale. And then the biggest one, grudge of all, is Mr. Winchelsea Warren Stevenson up against Pants Peacock. Woo. Imagine the sledging going on in this group on Saturday. Or will one of them not play?
No, surely.
Well, who knows? When does Carlton play? Warren will surely, if there's Carlton playing, he'll be trying to get out of this.
All right, Matty. The next game we've got to discuss is the Crusaders and the Tornadoes. Now, there's no stopping the Tornadoes.
You don't reckon?
No,
I still can't take to them. Crusaders 5th, Tornadoes 2nd, arguably match of the round. Crusaders higher counting scores for the teams by 15 so far this season of the counters, which gives them a superior percentage. 2 wins though. Tornadoes have had 3. Tornadoes have had Ian Davis, Chris Dodds count every week.
Liking the cut of Chris Dodds' jib.
Yeah, well, for the Crusaders, X Factor Boland, Donovan Hill, Lee Datson and Adam Shawcross have scored every week. Crusaders require a little extra from 2 of the ladies in Christine Noble, 22, 29, 30, 28. And then Cherie Gill started off hot with a 36. And then as her last 2 appearances have dwindled down with 26 both times. Cole Isbell, similarly, he went 40, 30, 27, 29. And Mr. Lemonade, Craig Connolly, last 2's been 27, 28. Tornadoes, Yvonne Casey, you started off with 43, then you've gone 27, 23. Is that 43 an aberration? I'm not sure. Maybe she didn't count all the shots that day, who knows? Rob Moorcroft, last 2 counting scores, but only 28s. Reynolds and O'Neill, will they turn up this week? Tickle Wilson, one of the biggest disappointments of the season, 28, 25, 27. You've been in all Portarlington contention for selection each year, and this year you're in contention for the piss poor team. You need to do something. And the last one is club champion runner-up Glacier Glogs.
Glogs.
23 and then a no-show. Come on, Gogs, you're better than that. Don't tell me you were still hungover from ex-golf on the Monday just gone and that's why you didn't play. I don't know. You can handle the pressure or can't you handle the analysis?
I was very nervous because if Glacier, because he didn't turn up, but his team got over the line by a point, what you would have said had he cost his team victory.
No, I love Gogs. I like this man, Gogs.
Glogs.
Glogs. We've got Ian Davis up against Tony Havis. We've got Lee Datson up against Craig Duncanson this week. So a couple of real by-play matches here as well.
I like it. And the final game you need to preview, Matty, is the Pirates, who are suddenly just under the pump against the Bullies, who aren't tracking that well either.
Like these are 2 of the biggest franchises in the league, and they're sitting 6th and 7th. They've been like grand final contenders every year. Although they are 6 and 7, I think this is going to be a cracker. Both teams go in evenly matched. Pirates have a 19-point counted score advantage over the Bullies. Pirates have relied on McCorkle, Stevie Gill, that have had theirs counted each week, while the Bullies have had Judy Said, Jackie Rowe, Richard West and Ross Moreland count each week. Bullies need something out of Kevin Hudson. I'm seriously concerned with the form line of this gentleman and the continual decline of his scores. 30, 29, 26, 27.
Oh, Kev.
Raviani, 30, 26, 25, 31. John Wooten, so inconsistent, and I'm sure they'll be hoping Rodwell will be back to full health, but then again, his 25 and 27 doesn't instill much confidence for a return. For the Pirates, Sue Gregory, the last 2 games has been below standard with a 26 and a 29. Johnny Powell had a massive improvement on Saturday. He was still shithouse on Saturday though. He went from 19 to 29. Manny Golf was 29 and 25, while the A-grader, Andrew Wooten, has been deplorable all season, except for round 1. Round 1 he was 39, then he went 27, no show because he was soft, and then he had 27 last week.
Geez, I remember after he's 39, he was talking up the consistency of his game in the past few months too.
Yes, well, he's putrid lately. Bullies should see, as I said, Rodwell should be back. Stu Anderson's back flared up Saturday, and Phil Stevens' back has been out for 2 weeks. Not sure if they're related there, Mark, or not. Could be a romance happening in Premier League. But we have Jay McGrath and Richie Howes up against Phil Stevens and Ross Moreland. Andrew Wooten versus John Wooten. Dennis Wood versus Bill Archer. I'm interested to see the Wooten. Remember a couple of years ago it was dinner at the Flower Drum for the loser?
Yes.
Had to pay, so I'm interested to see where they'll be going. If Ando wins, I'm sure he'd be trying to take him to McDonald's or Hungry Jack's or something. So, or he'd still lose and make Dad pay.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, well, congratulations again to Dennis Wood on his ace. That was magnificent. To Xavier Boland for his 2nd consecutive Travis Matthews shirt. The highest scoring team, Matty, to come and get
Was the Warriors.
It was the Warriors, and the weakest water prize, I think, was back with the Bullies.
And you know what? I bet you Ian Flanders has already been in to collect his balls.
No.
Betcha. I reckon he would have already been into Jill and asked for them already. Guaranteed. And Joel Lorna gets balls for his putrid effort on Saturday. It's how good this event is. You can play shithouse, or in Rick Edmondson's case, not even turn up and you still get 2 balls.
All right, that was it for one of the great rounds in Premier League history. Well done, Matty. Great stats, and we'll probably reconvene and do this next week.
Yes, thank you, Mark. It's always a pleasure sitting side by side with such a champion of the game.
Unbelievable. That's the Neville Richards Premier League show for round 4. See you all next week.
I think I've had more than 2 points this morning. See you all.